GTA Vice City. One of the more underappreciated games in the franchise, I feel like. I mean, everyone knows and loves San Andreas, GTA 4, and of course GTA 5, and even GTA 3 as the start of the 3D games, making this series really what it is today. But Vice City is still an amazing game, especially for the time it was released, and honestly, I was also surprised to find how many myths and urban legends were actually in this game. I thought the whole myth thing really took off with San Andreas, and I mean it did, but this game still has a ton of crazy stuff. GTA 3 does too, and don't worry, that's definitely next. But today, let's take a look at the many myths and legends of GTA Vice City. Bridge trolls. This is a pretty strange and lesser known myth from Vice City, one that became relevant much after the release of the game. They are said to be strange creatures that live and hide under the many bridges in the game, such as near Vice Point, Vice City River, and Washington Beach. And it's been claimed by players that these creatures try to hide and stay away from the player and aren't typically hostile. However, there isn't too much else to say other than this isn't real, and there's no evidence of any trolls in the game. Lighthouse Witch. At a particular lighthouse located in Ocean Beach, there's said to be a witch that occupies and haunts the area. It's been rumored that she took over the lighthouse and belongs to a coven of witches, which is actually referenced in one of the radio stations called K-Chat. She has been said to be seen in or around the structure, usually at night. And despite there being some references to witches in the actual game, this one is not true. Shadow Man. This is a really strange and obscure myth originating from a video investigation of Vice City, particularly around Avery Towers, where a strange pedestrian was sighted who appeared to be a homeless pedestrian that was for some reason shrouded in all black, which led to him being dubbed the Shadow Man. Since then, some have also claimed to have encountered this entity and that it also chased them or even attacked the player, but these are undocumented. This is most likely nothing more than a rare glitched NPC. UFOs. Gotta have them in every game, right? But interestingly, this game really did have UFOs. Well, it has at least one, in the form of an Easter egg, as at the Interglobal Film Studios, there can be found a small UFO prop. Also in the studio, there is a moon landing set, probably as a reference to conspiracies of the moon landing being faked in a movie studio, and interestingly there's a texture on the moon that looks kind of like an alien, which is most likely also part of this Easter egg. However, there have also been claims of UFO sightings, just like in all of the other games, a lot of them pointing to the glowing red lights in the sky as proof. Although these are navigation lights for airplanes, and a lot of the other alleged UFO sightings were also just mistaken aircraft. Ghost ships. This is a kind of strange and actually proven phenomenon that can be found in Vice City, which is that if you look out into the distance at the sea, there can be ships that are seen for only a short amount of time before disappearing. Usually only visible for about 5 to 10 seconds before they're gone. But this is just a way of Rockstar being able to make the game seem more alive, without having too many assets loaded in at all times. Not much else to this other than that. It's also in some of the other games though, like San Andreas as well. Ninjas. Yeah, remember when I talked about this in the GTA 4 video? I wasn't kidding. Originating from a gaming forum called the Neoseeker, there were claims and rumors circulating about ninjas and spies that would stalk the player, typically at the Ocean Bay Marina. Now, obviously this isn't real, but this myth is not only pretty funny, but it's also one of the earliest reported myths in GTA ever, starting way back with the release of this game in 2002, which I thought was really interesting. Demonic body. So when you see this image, what do you see? Well, according to some myth hunters, this appears to be a demon with wings, which can be found in the form of this strange symmetrical texture located in Skumal Shack, which is kind of a creepy location on its own. It also reminds me of the demonic looking textures from San Andreas, but let me know, does this even look like a demon to you? To me, it honestly just looks like one of those Rorschach tests or something. Dwarves. This is another pretty goofy one, to be honest, kind of similar to the bridge trolls, and these are said to have been spotted in alleyways and some other locations in the game, reported as very short people, about 2 or 3 feet in height. But this might all just be due to the fact that there are some very small doors that are maybe only 3 feet high, which many average sized people wouldn't normally fit through, but other than that, there really isn't much to this, honestly. Crocodiles. Crocodiles were a pretty big myth in GTA 4, usually said to be spotted in the storm drains, similar to real life sightings. Not like it's a mythical creature or anything, but you get what I mean. And we know, of course, Vice City is based on the real life city of Miami, Florida, and everyone also knows that Florida is known for having crocodiles and alligators. Or maybe one of those, I don't really know. But it makes sense that people would assume that they're in the game. And also, since we're going back to Vice City in GTA 6, according to the leaks, hopefully they will be included in that game. But in this Vice City here, there is no solid proof of their existence. But there is a sign that can be found at Greasy Chopper that says crocodiles no swimming. There's also other crocodile souvenirs that can be found at Fudd's gift shop. But most interestingly, there was a cut location that may have existed in early builds of the game, called Gator Keys, which most likely would have had alligators or crocodiles, as it most likely would have had swamps. Really interesting piece of cut content for sure. And who knows, maybe it will appear in GTA 6. Max Payne. Another Rockstar character from another game, this time we have Max Payne, who appeared in his breakthrough hit in 2001. And like most Rockstar projects, there are references to them in the GTA games. However, there's not really much evidence at all of Max appearing in the game himself. Although apparently there have been alleged sightings which are attributed to skins and mods. Sea Monster. The sea monster is another very similar myth to many others from the GTA games and real life as well. Pretty much Vice City's version of the Loch Ness Monster. It's said to be spotted around the bridges, Washington Beach, North and South Beach, as well as the Washington Beach River, and just about every other area where there's water, to be honest. And it's been said that the creature is known to flip over boats, killing those in it by drowning, with reports of it even happening to players. This is a really cool myth though, because it's one of the earliest ones, dating back to the initial release, with players first noting strange objects and shapes in the water, and eventually boats flipping for no discernible reason, and eventually just straight up sightings. And I like that subtle evolution, similar to how urban legends start in the real world. Dracula. This is another early myth that got some traction on gaming forums back in the day, as it was said that Dracula could be found in the game, wearing his signature black cape. But yeah, this isn't real. But there is a kind of strange vampire character called Constantino Smith that is referenced on the radio stations, although he can't actually be encountered. There's also a Dracula portrait Easter egg at the cemetery, but that's about it. Ghost Girl. This one is more so another kind of simple glitch. Basically, if you pick up one of the female pedestrians seen around the beach and drive into the water with a motorcycle, then the NPC will just vanish, or even fall into the water and die before reappearing on the bike when you exit the water. Kind of weird, but just some sort of glitch. Chainsaw Killer. This is really interesting. So in the game, there is a specific apartment called Apartment 3C, which is notable for this eerie scene found in the bathroom. The walls covered in blood, as well as a chainsaw pickup, and drugs can also be found in the apartment, leading some people to think that there is some sort of chainsaw killer on the loose. And upon finding out about this, many people began to speculate and even say that they heard or saw the killer around Vice City. Some also think this chainsaw-wielding killer could possibly be Pigsy from Manhunt, although that doesn't really make much sense considering Manhunt wasn't released until 2003. But this myth is not true, when you realize that Apartment 3C is simply just an Easter egg and actually a pretty cool reference to the gangster film Scarface, where a very similar scene occurs, involving a drug deal gone wrong as well as a chainsaw in an apartment. Still, some believe that there is a chainsaw serial killer somewhere out there in Vice City. Megalodon. We got sharks again, but not just any shark, the big shark, also called the Megalodon or the giant shark, based on the real-life extinct species. And if you haven't played Vice City, sharks are actually in the game. It's no myth like some of the others. But the big boy himself, well, that's a different story. There are some sightings and even reports of this massive shark found in the waters surrounding Vice City. Although these are most likely just regular sharks, as they are rather big for some reason. Although there is a pretty large shark that can be found in the Interglobal Studios film set, but this is also just a prop. Albino creature. Yet another alleged cryptid and creature said to be found in the ocean, said to be spotted near the Vice City stacks, and this white-looking creature is said to escape into the sea caves or the water when seen by the player, moving at a very fast speed, and was usually also said to be seen during foggy weather specifically. However, these sightings were simply textures of the stack that were misidentified as some sort of creature, which was in a lot of instances obscured by the foggy weather. North Beach Ghost. Here we have another alleged ghost, one said to be seen haunting North Beach, a kind of strange part of the map due to there not being too many pedestrians around. This rumor was also started thanks in part to another myth called the Vice Beach Mystery, which concerns the idea of pedestrians in the area suddenly disappearing and literally vanishing out of sight. However, this ghost has no evidence, and the disappearing NPCs is either a glitch or due to them despawning from being too far away from the player. Frankie Carbone. Okay, so this might be one of my favorite Rockstar Easter eggs ever. Not really a myth, but more of just a reference to my favorite movie of all time, Goodfellas, which we can see in the opening scene. Of course, it's all the more cool because Ray Liotta voices the main character Tommy, and was also the protagonist and narrator of Goodfellas, Henry Hill. And there are many other movie references in the game, such as of course the Scarface one we discussed earlier. Frankenstein. So this refers to the pretty famous monster that is commonly just called Frankenstein, but is actually Frankenstein's monster, at least according to the original story. Anyway, the creature is said to have been spotted on Prawn Island, although there really is no evidence of his existence, although there are references to it, such as with the movie poster for Lady Frankenstein, but the myth of this actual monster is not real. Giant spiders. Returning to the cemetery, or at least that area, we have the myth of giant spiders. And this myth kind of started because of a house located near the cemetery called house number 252, which has a strange object that can be seen in the window. And there are many interpretations of what this could be. Some think it's a ghost, and some think it is either a giant spider or the web of a giant spider, for some reason. Yeah, there really isn't much else to this. Bigfoot. I know, but it wouldn't be a GTA myth video without Bigfoot. Spoiler alert, it's a popular urban legend in every main game. But this is probably the least prominent Bigfoot myth of all of them. However, like a lot of the other urban legends in this game, there are film posters that are kind of similar. There's one that looks like either Bigfoot or maybe a reference to King Kong. Also, some people point to a certain grass texture that could look like a large foot impression, although it can only be seen from a faraway distance and is most likely a draw distance bug. And there really is no proof of Bigfoot in this game. Volt Monster. This is an obscure myth regarding an alleged creature found living behind a certain Payne spray in Washington Beach, said to be created as a result of high voltages. And I guess this myth and rumor simply started because of some of the signs in the area, talking about engines and petroleum mixtures, but this is simply just a strange rumor. Shipping company worker. So this refers to a worker for a shipping company called Spanned Express, which is prominently featured in the mission Phnom Penh 86, where Lance pilots a helicopter and flies under a bridge. And if the player looks behind the helicopter, a certain worker can be seen jumping off the bridge and hitting the helicopter, and then falling to his death in the water. And it's thought that this is similar to other occurrences in games like San Andreas, and is simply due to a pedestrian spawn glitch. Although some think this could be an Easter egg, and a worker ending themselves due to losing their job. Super Cop. This refers to certain policemen who randomly become invincible and can sometimes even move extremely fast and teleport around, typically using it to arrest and kill the player when they have a wanted level. And there are documented instances of this happening, although they are most likely just glitches. As boring as that answer really is, there is no other explanation really. Dogs.
Dogs.
Some believed at some point dogs were planned to be in Vice City, citing a $25 fine in violation with something to do with dogs. I don't know, it's kind of low res. As well as another sign that says no kids or dogs after 7 PM. However, there really is no other evidence of dogs existing in any of the game files. Horses. Similarly, it was thought that there could have been horses in GTA Vice City. At least that's how the rumor goes. And like any good rumor, it begins with someone claiming their uncle or some relative works at the company. One of these claims comes from the very early days of the game in September of 2002 from the good old Neoseeker forums, which reads, quote, "Anyways, I ask her what does she know about GTA Miami, and she says, well, when I say I seen them play it, what I mean is that I was only in the room for a few seconds at a time, so I didn't really get a good look at it. I prompt her by asking about what kind of cars and stuff did you see them driving, and she says, I seen them driving a moped type motorbikes and some weird looking beach cars that looked like those golf carts, and there was one time when they were riding a horse. But then she gets all defensive and says that they work on loads of different games at Rockstar, and it could be a different game she's talking about. So does this read like a bad creepypasta? Yes, but still, I thought it was funny to include here. There are no horses in the game at all, and they are only ever referenced a few times by characters. Godzilla. Yeah, so apparently Godzilla, the king of monsters, was said to be found in Vice City, at least outside of the boundaries of the map. Reported to be out in the far distance, typically traveling along the ocean near the beaches. But yeah, this is obviously not real. But you know, nowadays anything can happen. I mean, they actually had Godzilla in Warzone, right? So maybe in GTA 6 or something. Cement Shoe Man. So this is actually a true and pretty creepy one. A sort of strange Easter egg created by Rockstar. There are two of these men that can be found underwater, missing all of their clothes, presumably tortured and drowned by the Mafia, as this was most likely a reference to real-life cases, using cement or other heavy objects to weigh someone down before throwing them into the ocean to drown a horrible death. This method of execution is even referenced by Ken Rosenberg in the final mission of the game. Really interesting Easter egg by Rockstar. Demonical outcast. This is a strange one associated with the location of the secluded church, where these demonic entities are said to be found. Specifically, it's said that in the alleyway near the church, during foggy or stormy weather, this demon can be encountered, said to be a huge creature with chains wrapped around its head. Sadly though, this entity is not actually real. Ghost Rider. Another myth originating from the early days of the game, also on Neoseeker. This one is about a certain strange blue bike that could be seen driving around downtown Vice City without an actual biker. At least that's how the reports and sightings go. So it's either some sort of glitch, as similar things have happened before in other games, or it's just a hoax. And that'll do it for today's myths. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly always have a good time diving into GTA and gaming myths in general. Yeah, they aren't always scary. Actually, they aren't really usually all that spooky, but they are fascinating. The stuff people claim to see and come up with here, and even the strange, weird Easter eggs that Rockstar puts in. It's all great stuff. Still, thank you for watching, and like I've done with some icebergs in the past, I plan on doing a supercut of all of the GTA myth videos for one long one, featuring the myths of the Grand Theft Auto series, at least in terms of the mainline games, which will include GTA 3. That'll be a part of that supercut. And if you have any suggestions for bonus entries for this game or for any of the games, please leave them down below, and I'll be sure to include the most interesting entries. Anyway, that's it for now. It's been me, sourcebrew, and I'll see you all with the next one. Peace out.